Hi. Well, that's the first time I've done that on my own phone. I cut myself off at 3 seconds. So I'll go back a little bit. Interesting pen makes me want to write and do research. So I was going to do stigma and self stigma today. And as I was looking up, I wasn't finding directly where I have things on that, and I want to have more than one source. So I'm just not following one person's idea because some people don't talk about self stigma. So another day. So I'm using myself, my dissertation, and the next thing I was going to say, I will go back and say the other things, but mine is a meta-analysis, which means I didn't need people. I wanted people originally, but there's a institutional review board which approves if you can deal with people or not, whether it's immoral, or I forget how they phrase it. And so when I came to learn what that was going to be like, I wanted to do the meta-analysis anyway because I wanted to focus on ideas that are out there, ideas that'll lead to other ideas. Colleges are very much looking for new populations, for extending their population, because that's how they make money and can continue on. So there are a lot of people with mental illnesses that give it a go and graduate. My idea is 4 to 6 years because there are some people that feel bad and episodic and drop out. As I've been saying, it would be so much better if they didn't have to completely drop out, if there was an avenue where they could leave while they're episodic and come back in when they're not, and not have to go through the whole process of being accepted, etc. So I'm starting with the 5 most prominent disorders in America, and then I'm going to my 4 studies that led me to things that work for college students with mental illnesses, and those specifically with bipolar disorder. And probably, if not, no, maybe today, my at the end of your research, you have to say where people should use your research as what you think the people should read your research and then make a jumping off point to X, Y, or Z. Okay. So the 5 most prominent disorders in the United States are compulsive disorder, major depressive disorder, bipolar disorder, anxiety disorders, and schizophrenic disorders. College programs designed to help students with these mental health illnesses realize that there are beneficial effects on retention when pivotal answers to mental health situations are considered. Eisenberg et al., one of my favorite and best resources, 2016, suggests peer support groups, services provided by campus professionals, online screenings, referral programs as various ways to improve mental health among college students. All right, so I want to go back and say what I said on the video that only lasted 4 seconds. I often thought those people with schizophrenic disorder are kind of out here. That the looking forward in their life, it's not as easy as somebody with another disorder. Their episodes are longer, can be very much more severe than what we've talked about. And I used to think, well, they're they're over here. Not much we can do for them. And with my research, which is so good thing about research, I realized that they're discovering bipolar meds. Some bipolar meds work for schizophrenics. The new the new focus on diet for all mental illnesses can be part of schizophrenic treatment. And when I was done, I felt sad for so many years. I didn't specifically like do this to a schizophrenic person, but in my head about schizophrenia, I'm like, well, that's almost a lost cause. And it isn't. And that's not the way we should all feel about people with that disorder. So that was a tangent I took before, and I took it again. The hope is if college and universities adapt one or all of these interventions, it will improve retention of college and university students with mental illness. Based upon the studies included in the current quantitative meta-analysis, mine, program effectiveness was enough for experimentally sharing the impact on college and university students with mental illness. The efficacy of four types of interventions were analyzed in this meta-analysis. Okay, Ahmed et al. 2020, AHMED, utilized the Mindfulness for Virtual Community program. That's all caps, so it probably comes down to MVCP, but I'd almost have to Google it again myself unless it comes up with those initials later on in my dissertation. A web-based cognitive behavioral therapy program that ran for 8 weeks. The program included video recordings that participants could watch on their own time on their personal computer. Anonymous peer discussion boards were available and live synchronous 20-minute video conferences. Counselors ran the video conferences on alternate days for 4 weeks. They discussed ways to overcome anxiety and depression during common experiences, academics, sleep, relationships, using mindfulness. When examining the effects of the program, Ahmed et al. 2020 found a large effect on depression and a moderate effect on anxiety. Hang on a second, I have to turn my own pages to my own book. Okay. Salamanca et al. 2020 used a web-based resilience program with students, adapted an existing program to be appropriate for Colombian students. That means in the country of Colombia. They designed materials to be culturally appropriate for this population. For example, rather than using the terminology reducing depression, they used improved mood to be sensitive to the mental health stigma. There is stigma in here in this population. Several modules of cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT as we know it, now I lost my place, were included. Topics including self-monitoring, behavioral activation, cognitive restructuring, and challenging core beliefs. Modules had videos, educational content, quizzes, and homework suggestions. So cool. A supporter was assigned to provide asynchronous feedback for students. The intervention was accessed online in the student's own time. This is significant, and I'm pointing it out again. The results of the study showed a large effect on student depression. Roig et al. 2020 ran an intervention program to promote resilience and well-being. The program had 7 modules that used cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, approaches to help students cope, seek social support, and practice a healthy lifestyle. Similar to other approaches, the intervention and used psychoeducational videos, quizzes, stories from other users, mindfulness exercises, and goal setting. We've talked about that in some of the workbooks. The result of the study showed a moderate effect on both depression and anxiety. Hundert's, that's a reference 2018. Intervention was honest, open, proud for college students. They have letters, HOP-C. This program was data-driven and built off of existing programs aimed at reducing stigma. I'm so happy. I only found this stigma accidentally in my own work, but it's where I want to go in the future and what I wanted to do today. So it's a bipolar backroom miracle. I love those. And empowering students to disclose. During the program, students are able to practice disclosure and meet with a group of peers to discuss concern. Once a week for 3 weeks, students met for 2 hours in a group. The group included students with similar experiences to help reduce stigma by normalizing their experiences. The results showed small effects on depression and anxiety. Okay, more of my research. The first 3 studies had similarities. They all had 7 modules using psychoeducational videos and were based on cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT. Interaction with real people were present in all the intervention programs and included either a counselor, peer group facilitators, or a discussion post or a supporter. The anonymity of the online modules would have removed some of the normal stigma to mental illness, and this may have aided in success. In Hunter 2018 study, which had a weak effect, the peer facilitators were not anonymous. Using an online modality for intervention may also have been an advantage. Online interventions are cost effective, which is another thing I was thinking about to find answers. Cost effective. And reduce stigma, making it important for colleges to look at, because campus counseling centers cannot reach all the students that need help. That's the truth. That is such the truth. Doing the online interventions described here could be in addition to counseling centers or in lieu of counseling center appointments. The interventions using cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT. This may be why there were large effects on anxiety. CBT is the therapy that is especially focused on anxiety. CBT focuses on empathy, the importance of self-image, and supports patients to advocate for their own success. CBT gives worry reduction strategies and focuses on factors related to anxiety. Anxiety is the most frequent mental disorder in college students. If I didn't say that before, that was a pivotal thing that I learned in my research. CBT has a large effect on anxiety, making it appropriate for this population. Although it is well suited for anxiety, it's also appropriate for depression, which is common on college campuses. CBT is a blend of cognitive psychology and behavior therapy. It has been documented as effective with a variety of disorders. CBT may have been successful here due to its structure. While psychotherapy would need a repeating hourly visit with a therapist, a college student would be more likely to be able to use 20-minute time frame to watch a video. And I try to keep mine at 20 minutes too. How cool is that? Positive result. Importantly, CBT helps people to think and how their thoughts about their place in the world impact the way they feel and behave. Varcolis and Halter, that's the nursing textbook, 2010. These approaches of CBT were applied in many ways. Mindfulness was used and as an example of how to emphasize how you feel with regard to your place in the world. And we'll certainly, I titled one mindfulness episode, but there are probably going to be many more. Now where did I go? Oh, let me repeat it. Mindfulness was used as and is an example of how to emphasize how you feel with regard to your place in the world. That's a repeat sentence. The structure and nature of modules also allowed students to schedule the intervention to their day, providing organization. Goal setting was used, which comes out of these workbooks as well. Goal setting can actually have many benefits for students. It can help them when plotting timeline for term papers, study times for assessments, and looking towards the end of the semester final exams. So, I think this is where we stop, but I may pick up right here in my own dissertation, because it did talk about stigma a couple times. Okay, I hope all of you are going to have a good day and a good night. Wherever you find this, remember a fancy pen and a notebook with a great quote. And that quote is, "It always seems impossible until it's done." Nelson Mandela. Take care. See you soon. Bye.